Have you ever stood in Moscow's Red Square, surrounded by the candy-colored domes of St. Basil's Cathedral and the imposing walls of the Kremlin? If you have, you've undoubtedly seen it. A striking, stepped pyramid of red granite, both modern and ancient in its design. This is the Lenin Mausoleum, and inside lies the body of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, the leader of the Bolshevik Revolution, who passed away in 1924. For nearly a century, this tomb has been one of Russia's most iconic and controversial landmarks. Today, we are going to journey back in time to uncover the incredible story behind this monumenta. Story of science, politics, and the creation of a modern-day saint. When Lenin died in January 1924, the Soviet government was thrown into a state of panic. How could they preserve the legacy of the man who had founded their state? Initially, the plan was simple: a temporary farewell. A wooden cube-like structure was hastily built on Red Square so that mourners could pay their last respects. The Russian winter was so severe that Lenin's body remained naturally preserved, allowing tens of thousands to file past his open casket. The outpouring of grief was immense, and it gave the new Soviet leadership, particularly Joseph Stalin, a powerful idea. Stalin saw an opportunity. Instead of burying Lenin as his wife and family wished, he proposed something radical: preserving Lenin's body for eternity. This wasn't just about honoring a leader. It was about creating a new kind of religion for a state that had officially rejected it. Lenin would become an immortal symbol of communism, a figure for pilgrims to venerate. The idea was to create a cult of Lenin, with the Mausoleum as its central temple. This decision went against Lenin's own wishes. He had wanted to be buried next to his mother in St. Petersburg. But in the power struggle that followed his death, Lenin's will was ignored. His body became a political tool, a silent testament to the enduring power of the revolution. So, the first temporary wooden mausoleum was quickly replaced by a second, larger one, also made of wood. It was designed by the renowned architect Alexei Shchusev, who drew inspiration from ancient monuments like the Step Pyramid of Djoser in Egypt and the Tomb of Cyrus the Great in Persia. The design was meant to convey permanence, power, and a timeless authority. For 5 years, this wooden structure stood on Red Square as the Lenin-esque lab worked frantically behind the scenes. This brings us to the most fascinating and, frankly, slightly macabre part of our story: the science of preservation. How do you keep a human body looking lifelike for a century? The task fell to a team of brilliant scientists, led by Vladimir Vorobyov and Boris Gibarsky. They pioneered a unique embalming method that was nothing like the techniques used on ancient Egyptian mummies. Instead of just drying out the body, their goal was to maintain its flexibility, skin tone, and lifelike appearance. The process was incredibly complex and experimental. They developed a special chemical cocktail, primarily involving glycerol and potassium acetate, which they injected into the body. This solution replaced the body's natural fluids, preventing decay and keeping the tissues moist. Lenin's internal organs were removed, but his skin, muscles, and skeletons were kept intact. His face, hands, and the visible parts of his body received meticulous attention. To this day, a dedicated team of scientists, often called the Mausoleum Group, continues this work. Every couple of years, Lenin's body is re-embalmed in a secret lab beneath the mausoleum. It's a continuous, painstaking process involving chemical baths, injections, and careful monitoring to ensure the leader of the world proletariat remains eternally presentable. In 1930, the final, permanent mausoleum we see today was completed. Architect Alexei Shchusev once again led the project, this time using luxurious materials like red granite, porphyry, and black labradorite. The structure is a masterpiece of Soviet constructivism, a bold, geometric statement of power. Its dark red color harmonizes with the Kremlin walls, tying Lenin directly to the historical heart of Russian power. Inside, the atmosphere is somber and reverent. Visitors descend into a dimly lit funerary hall where Lenin's body lies in a glass sarcophagus, illuminated by soft lights. For decades, a visit here was a quasi-religious experience for Soviet citizens, and a musi for foreign dignitaries. Guards stood motionless at the entrance, and a strict code of conduct was enforced. No talking, no photos, and men had to remove their hats. The mausoleum reached the peak of its symbolic importance during the Stalin era. Every major parade on Red Square, especially the famous Victory Day parades, was reviewed by Soviet leaders from atop the mausoleum. Standing on Lenin's tomb was the ultimate display of political power and succession. In a strange twist, when Stalin himself died in 1953, his body was also embalmed and placed alongside Lenin's. For 8 years, the monument was known as the Lenin and Stalin Mausoleum. However, this dual arrangement didn't last. During the period of de-Stalinization under Nikita Khrushchev, Stalin's crimes were denounced. In a secret nighttime operation in 1961, Stalin's body was quietly removed from the mausoleum and buried in a simple grave by the Kremlin wall. Lenin was once again alone in his tomb. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the future of the mausoleum became a subject of intense debate. For many, it's a grim relic of a totalitarian past that has no place in a modern, democratic Russia. Calls for Lenin's burial have been a constant feature of Russian political discourse for the last 30 years. Prominent figures from writers to politicians to the Russian Orthodox Church have argued that it is time to finally lay him to rest according to Christian tradition and his own wishes. They see the continued display of his body as a bizarre and unsettling spectacle. On the other hand, the mausoleum still has its defenders. The Communist Party of the Russian Federation fiercely opposes any attempt to remove Lenin's body, viewing it as a desecration of their history. Others argue that, regardless of one's political views, the mausoleum is a unique historical and architectural monument. It's an undeniable part of Russia's 20th century story, and to remove it would be to erase a significant, albeit painful, chapter of the nation's past. The Russian government has so far taken a cautious approach, leaving the mausoleum open but reducing its official status. The honor guard has been removed, and the flow of visitors has slowed to a trickle compared to its Soviet-era peak. Today, visiting the Lenin Mausoleum is a surreal experience. You join a small, quiet line, pass through a security check, and descend into the cold, silent chamber. There he is, under glass, looking more like a wax figure than a real person, dressed in a dark suit. Whether you see him as a revolutionary hero, a brutal dictator, or simply a scientific curiosity, the experience is unforgettable. The mausoleum stands as a silent monument to a turbulent Centaria, symbol of an ideology that promised a utopian future but delivered a complicated and often tragic reality. It forces us to confront difficult questions about memory, history, and how a nation chooses to remember its leaders. The debate over Lenin's final resting place is far from over. And as long as his body remains on Red Square, it will continue to be a powerful and polarizing symbol at the very heart of Russia. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of history's most fascinating monuments. What do you think should happen to Lenin's body? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.